What is up guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Dr. Hammerstang and today I'm going to give you my review here of the Huawei Pura 70 Pro, a phone that I've been using for the past few weeks, and I got a lot of things that I do want to share with you guys to hopefully help you to make your purchase decision. And of course in these type of videos I like to break it down into 4 main segments over here. So without further ado, let's just get right into it. So before we go any further, we have to talk about the price on this phone over here. So it does start off at about 48.99 ringgit Malaysia, which would place it at about the $1,000 mark. So that would mean that this phone right here is a full-on flagship phone. Of course, we know we have the Pura 70 Ultra and also the normal Pura 70, but for this price point, it actually is a flagship by its own right, and we're going to look at it as a flagship phone. So in the first segment that I want to talk about here is of course the holding experience. So basically how the phone would feel in your hand on a daily basis. So I'm going to talk about the build and design, the materials, and just basically how it feels. So what I can say is that it feels really good. That's what she said. So first thing here, what I like about this is of course the size of this. It is of course giving you still a massive phone, and it gives you a lot of stuff. It also does give you that huge camera bump, so you're not going to miss out on all of those things if you really want that. But I really like the size on this in terms of the width. So if you're holding this, it feels very similar to like the iPhone 15 rather than the 15 Pro, the 15 Pro Max. So it feels more like the 15 and 15 Pro, which makes it very, very comfortable to hold because you don't really have to kind of stretch your hands or stretch your fingers to reach to the other side of the phone, which is something I do struggle with other flagship phones. So over here it's really nice for a one-handed use. Of course, me with a small hand here in Malaysia is actually working really, really nice. I can reach to the top of the phone, I can reach to the side, I can reach to the fingerprint on the bottom here as well, no problems whatsoever. And what I like about this is of course the sides over here. It does have a curve on the side, so very subtle I would say, and it does give you a very nice matte finish on the back. It is quite slippery, so in case you're not going to use it or with some cases, it may slip out of your hands, but I really like it because you're not going to attract a lot of fingerprints on the back over here. And of course, when you talk about the camera bump, one thing I don't really like about this so much is because that it is coming in a arrow shape over here instead of a flat on the bottom here, I can't really rest my finger too much. It does give me a little bit of some leeway over here to rest my finger when I'm using this, but if it was kind of flat, I think that will give me more support when I'm using my phone on a daily basis, going through my social media or watching shows or whatsoever. And of course, if we want to talk about the build material over here, it feels definitely very, very premium indeed. We have all the metal casing all around here. We have the glass on the back and also on the front. So definitely this phone here feels like a very much like a flagship phone. And of course, if you talk about the camera bump over here, we do have a very, very prominent camera bump. So in case you're going to bring this out to your friends or you're going to put it down on your table, people will know and it would actually attract attention to it, which I really do like. It does have that microscope kind of design, which I really do admire as well. So it's something really nice and new and fresh, which is something I really like in most of my phones every day, because sometimes it may get a little bit boring with the normal triangular designs. Other than that, in terms of the front display, the curve I would say is very minimal as well. It's not too aggressive as compared with like maybe the S22s or previous phone models where the curved screen will get too aggressive. Over here it's very nicely balanced, so if you want to scroll through and you want to swipe through from the sides, you won't really notice much of a problem. So in terms of this, the holding experience I would give on this is a solid 8.5 out of 10. Okay, so now moving on to the next segment over here, and that is of course the viewing experience. So I'm going to talk about the display, the speakers, and also the haptics on this. And I think Huawei has done a really great job with the Pura 70 Pro. Of course, as you would expect from a flagship phone, the speakers on this sound really nice, very loud, very crispy and clear as well. So there's nothing much to really complain about. When it comes to the haptics as well, I've been using it for some gaming sessions here as well. It works really nice. It does have that subtle kind of approach, which I really do like in most of my flagship phones, and it does give you a very, very heavy haptics as well if you're going to use it on like a bit more, you want to get a little bit more feedback on that. Another thing I want to talk about here is of course the display on this. So as you would expect, like I mentioned before, you're going to get an amazing display with this, and as I mentioned before, Yes, we do have a sort of smaller form factor phone, but it still gives you a very, very large display over here. So in terms of just watching your content on a daily basis, you're still going to get a very nice 6.7-inch display to enjoy your content. The camera cutout on the top here as well is very small and subtle, so you're not going to notice much of a difference when you're watching your shows here as well. And yeah, just overall, the viewing experience is really good. I'm going to give this a solid, again, 8.5 out of 10. Alright, so the next segment over here is where it gets a little bit tricky, and that is of course the user experience. So what I mean by that is I'm going to go through, of course, the hardware and software side of things. In terms of the hardware, there isn't much again to complain about over here. We have a very good processor, we have their own chipset, the Huawei chipset as well, and of course we do have a lot of RAM management over here, and of course the battery management on this is really, really nice. And of course we have wireless charging with a flagship phone like this, so it's very convenient and it does give you very fast wired and wireless charging at the end of the day. So what I like about this phone is that I can use it for more than a day. So by the time I reach home, I just do my stuff. Next day, you know, I get about like 20-30% when I reach work. What I need to do is just plug in the charger over here. It gets the job done within about 15 to 30 minutes. I get a full day of usage. So I don't really need to worry about charging this phone or even just draining the battery on this. It works really, really nice, and I really like the user experience on this. When of course, when we talk about the software side of things, this is where it gets tricky. Like, I do like the Huawei software that comes with this phone over here. I like the EMUI on this, so it's really nice because it does give you a lot of features, especially when you're going to your photo editing, when you're going through your notifications, your galleries and all that. They give you a lot of stuff. The AI features on here is also really, really nice with all the editing features here as well. Of course, the main thing that comes with this is, of course, when it comes to Huawei phones, is of course the Google availability with this phone. Yes, I know the app gallery has matured over the years. They have introduced more and more apps, especially banking apps, into the app gallery over here to give you a more comprehensive experience with the phone, and you don't really need to go to your Google or outsource to your APKs to get your apps. But again, because you're going to go through your APKs, or sometimes they're going to bring you to indirectly to the Google Play Store, you can't really get the full version as you would expect from a normal Android phone. So of course there are certain apps like I would say Disney Hotstar and all these other things that doesn't really work well with this because it's not coming directly from your Android app. So I can't say for many other apps. I know there are going to be certain apps that you guys might want to use or have used with your other Android phones, and I can't say for sure that it will work over here on this phone. So again, that's one thing that's quite troublesome and quite worrisome. But of course, if you've been using your Huawei phones before, you wouldn't notice much of a difference when you're transitioning to the Pura 70 Pro. So overall, I would say this is a little bit of a mixed bag. As a more of an Android user, I find this a little bit difficult to go to the Huawei side of things. But of course, if you're already into the Huawei ecosystem, you're using their laptops, you're using their earbuds and all these other things, their tablets and all these other things, I think this is really not too bad at all. So it kind of blends in really nice with whatever you're using. So overall, the user experience on this, I would give this a solid 7 out of 10. And last but not least, let's talk about the camera experience that comes with this phone. So one thing that I always love about when it comes to Huawei phones is of course the cameras, because they always emphasize on their cameras, giving you the best shots. They give you a lot more features and of course a little bit more camera pixels and all these other things over here, and I really like it when it comes to Huawei phones. Of course, I've been missing out on Huawei phones for the past 2 years, ever since they took out Google from their ecosystem over here. But going back into this, I realized how good their cameras have been and how they have actually changed the game over the past few years, and making competitors like Apple, Samsung, Xiaomi and all these other brands to step up their game when it comes to their cameras. So what I like about this is of course we have the snapshot over here, which of course would help a lot, because sometimes you want to take out your phone, you want to snap something, it gets the job done really, really nice. I like it as a really cool feature. When I press the shutter button as well, it works really, really fast. Of course, when it comes to night mode here as well, it works really nice. It gives you a lot more details. It would take some time for it to register a little bit more information, but I wouldn't mind it as well, because at the end of the day, you just want a nice night mode shot. Of course, if you are going outdoor with of course plenty of sunlight, you don't have to worry about it. portraits here isn't too bad at all. Sometimes there's a little bit of some smoothing, which I really don't like when it comes to my shots, but they still give you very nice bokeh effect, very nice edge detection, and of course a lot of details on my face, which I really do like. Selfies here does stay the same as well when it comes to the rear camera portraits and the selfie portraits, so it follows through really nice, and I do like the camera experience on this, and also the video taking on this is very stable and very nice and mature, which I of course really do like. And of course, if we talk about the features, they give you a lot of things, so there's nothing really to complain about. And of course, I'm going to show you some shots I've taken so you guys can judge it for yourself. So for the camera experience on this, I would give it a solid 8.5 out of 10. So that is it with my review here of the Huawei Pura 70 Pro. And of course, the ultimate question is, should you go out and buy it? I would say, if, like I mentioned before, if you're already into the whole Huawei ecosystem, or if you've been using something like the Huawei Mate 20 series or the P30 and all this, and you want to get into this, I think this is really a great phone to get. I know a lot of people that have been into the Huawei ecosystem, even when they took out Google, are still looking for a good phone. I think this is still a very decent phone, but like I mentioned before, there's certain things when it comes to certain apps, they may not work perfectly on this phone over here, but overall, I think for the price, for about $1,000, you're still getting a full-on flagship phone. You get all your wireless charging features, fast charging, good battery life, great cameras, great display, great speakers. So everything all ticks all the boxes, and I would say this is a great phone to recommend for all you Huawei lovers out there. So if you guys enjoyed this video, do click the like and smash the subscribe button. Everything I mentioned in this video is all my opinion and of course my thoughts. Do share yours in the comment section down below, and I'll check it out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.